Dad, are we felons?
I'm gonna need you to stop squirming if we're gonna do a podcast about
Sorry,
this
I'm so
movie.
fucking cute.
He's turned into like I don't even know what to call it about this movie.
Welcome to an extremely planned review of 1995's A Goofy Movie.
And only a Goofy movie. We're not talking about the sequel. I will refrain from talking about
It's
the
gonna
sequel.
happen down the road because this is one of those rare Disney sequels where the sequel's just as good as the original.
Yeah, but other people have made that joke. No,
That
it's not a joke.
that
Observation. Whatever.
Okay. This is really, really good. It's almost Wreck-It Ralph, anti-Wreck-It Ralph levels.
It's really solid. And how we experience these movies is kind of interesting. So this was the first time we ever recorded something on VCR at home. It was playing on a special, like, Dog Day Disney Channel, and so it was all dog movies.
Yeah.
And Goofy Movie was one of them. So my sister had recorded it on VCR, and I remember sitting down and just watching it all the fucking time. I had a huge crush on Max when I was little.
My penis was not quite to the point where I had a crush on Roxanne, but I was kind of like, something. What's going on there?
And it was interesting because I'd never seen Goof Troop, so I had no idea what the hell this was or what references they were making.
Older reviewers get a little upset that there aren't more Goof Troop characters, which we did not grow up with.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, I never saw Goof Troop, so this was a very solid, just standalone thing for me.
And one thing I remember regarding like the themes of this was I remember I got drunk one night. I'm like, Jazzy, I think Goofy Movie is really a good analogy for parents getting along with their children. You're like, that's a really astute, unique, very unobvious observation, sweetheart.
And guess what, honey? Mulan is a feminist movie.
So, aside from one little sketch where he remembers Roxanne in the car, the animation's like not solid, but it's very economical. It knows exactly where to spend itself.
Yeah, and this is definitely, I'm pretty sure this came out in the midst of the Disney Renaissance. There are Little Mermaid references everywhere.
What year did Mermaid come out?
I don't know. Editor Johnny, throw it up.
Okay, good.
So you could see Little Mermaid references everywhere. I don't know if this is actually considered like part of the Disney Renaissance, not timeline, but you know what I mean. I don't know if it's technically part of that or not. But it is a solid movie, and it's very like, it's not like, oh, we're not trying to beat a sea witch. We're not trying to save the world from a homicidal sorcerer.
It's very domestic, and that's nice.
Yeah, and it was an awesome way to display Disney's talents in just kind of a domestic thing. But that's kind of what the original Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy cartoons were.
I forgot where I was. Okay, so I thought as a kid that the little Disney references everywhere were like super, super clever, but they were just like gentle nods.
Yeah, they're just, gentle nods.
His key has the Disney D on it. There's Mickey and Donald there.
Yeah, and they talk about other things all the time. And Pete is Jim Cummings.
And Walt Disney is their god or something. But no, this is like one of the very few, because you grew up with Disney movies, and I did too, but I didn't like latch as hard as you did.
Yeah, it was a thing of, I had the VHSs and spent a lot of time by myself.
I had the VHS copy, so I didn't record it off TV like a plebe. I was the elitist scum. I have a very special relationship with my dad, and if you like your dad even at all, this is gonna make you super cute, because the storytelling elements are really solid. It's just really bread and butter storytelling.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not trying to break any major grounds. It does kind of what Disney does best today. It picks a story and it tells it very well.
Yeah. You have a theory about Goofy.
Oh, are we?
You had to rant, I guess.
Are we diving into that now?
I unless you want to talk about something.
Okay, so I don't want to be salty yet. Can we talk about Roxanne?
Okay, Roxanne. Oh my God. Okay, number one. I was absolutely shocked how like these characters were written like actual people.
Right. Yeah, and so what I love about Roxanne is so often, and not just in the 90s, I'm talking girls in media in general, you either have, oh, I'm the shy one and I sit in the library and don't know how hot I am, or you have the, like, token cheerleader or the token popular girl. You very rarely see characters that just act like people. And so Roxanne is, like, she likes Max, but she doesn't really like know how to feel about him, so she kind of keeps her distance, but she's like still really into him, and she's just as nervous as he is.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool like physical details that help like sell that. I don't know a lot about the actual characters that have roles in Goof Troop is the name of the show, I think.
Yes.
Stacy, her friend, is like kind of know it all, but it's not taken up to a place. You're looking for stereotypes because you grew up in this age where everything has to be a stereotype, so you get it. You get their motivation.
Right, yeah, and she, Stacy's barely in it. And again, I love that about, because so often you see in these stories, it's the one, like, outrageously hot girl gets hit on by, like, with the weird nerdy guy, but secretly she has a crush on him. Or it's the opposite. It's this kind of, I'm a totally average girl and I'm shy and I don't like to talk to people. And you get hit on by this just outrageously crazy, hunky-looking guy. Mm-hmm. And this is not that. They're two very normal people. Roxanne is shy, but not to the point that, it makes her an introvert.
Not that it becomes the anime trope, shy big tits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, solid Roxanne.
So they're solid.
Freaking PJ needs help.
Oh, Jesus. PJ and his dad.
Oh my God. What a toxic relationship.
My apologies to people who are between the ages of 30 and 37 who maybe grew up with the Goof Troop and they know better than I do. What's going on there?
What is going on with Pete and PJ? I get it's an antithesis to Goofy and Max's relationship.
And their parenting styles.
And maybe that's all, maybe it's just this movie and that's all that matters there. But, oh my God, dude.
He's just...
When a kid walks out of the principal's office legitimately scared for his life, that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, not to the point of like, triggered, but it's a problem. And then Pauly Shore's there.
Okay, Pauly Shore. We'll get to Pauly Shore in just a second. Okay. I really like that Pete and Goofy, they have like an antithesis of parenting roles, and there's a scene where they're talking about their parenting roles in the hot tub at the Neptune Inn, and he's like, hey, my son respects me. And I'm like, did shit in the Goof Troop show get this heavy?
I sincerely doubt it, because in the Goof Troop show, Max is like, what, 8?
Yeah. But there's like a ton of really heavy shit in this movie.
Right, yeah. And, it was in an era where Disney was comfortable dealing with that. And people hate the Disney trope of, God, I didn't mean this to turn into a discourse about Disney, but people hate the Disney trope of, there's only one parent. No, that's so... The Disney Renaissance was all about focusing on parental-child relationships.
So, yeah, if you don't need a second kid...
Except for Aladdin.
If you didn't need a second kid, or a second parent...
Yeah.
Who cares? Okay, Pauly Shore.
Okay, so Pauly Shore's in this movie.
Pauly Shore is in voices a character in both movies. He's only credited in the second one.
And he huffs Cheese Whiz.
Which means that in the first movie, they said, hey, Pauly Shore, we can't pay you. Do you want to be in this movie? He's like, sure, man, let's do it. I'm sorry. But I used to hate Pauly Shore because I'm like, Pauly Shore, get the fuck out of my movie. You're like the Paul Giamatti of voice actors.
No, he's fine.
He is fine now. I got mad the first time.
Pauly Shore's fine. And Paul Giamatti's fine.
They're both fine. I just want to get mad for no reason. He
huffs Cheese Whiz. That's
Cheese
a problem.
Whiz is clearly an amalgam for drugs.
Right, yeah. He's the druggy friend everybody knew in high school.
I love how when they're all getting it... This is a cool indication of their character. When they're getting in trouble, all three of the characters have different reactions to getting detention. PJ's like, I'm gonna die because my super militant dad. I'm not super sure Pauly Shore has a dad.
We're not entirely sure his living situation.
I'm like, is there a class you should be in? The animation knows where to spend itself.
Yes.
Examples are the hot tub scene, on the open road when he's driving all over different shit. Most of the climax waterfall scene.
If you haven't seen an early 90s animated movie in a while, go check it out. The hand-drawn backgrounds are really, really nice.
They're solid. And sometimes they do have that thing where you can tell when the frame opens what's going to move and what's not. But it's pretty good. It's so good that when they forget something, you notice. And there's a scene when in the car... He's like,
I had to tell you about this.
Goodbye, class. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, Roxanne. And he jumps up and he goes, Roxanne. But there's no
tweening. There's no in between frame.
There's zero tween framing between that. He goes from slouching over the window to upright, and he's like, fuck.
And I remember even as a kid, I was like, what just happened?
You don't know what's wrong, but your brain is like, help. Yeah. Oh my God. And I don't know what else to say. Like, it's.
I mean, it's solid. It's a Disney animated movie. I mean,
yeah.
There's enough said right there as far as animation. The songs are probably some of the best things ever on this planet.
Powerline is a fictitious musician played by some guy. I wish I knew his name.
We could find it.
I could find it if it's on the screen if I manage to find it later.
Right on.
And he actually he was super cool when the show turned 20 years old last year. By the way, this is a 21-year-old movie. He said, hey, do you want it for like a show to reprise your role as Powerline?
Yes.
Which is just the best quintessential 90s like pop group.
Yeah, apparently there's a live version of Stand Out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we never sat down and watched that. Okay, we're going to watch that when this review is over.
There's a live version of no, it's After Today.
Or After Today,
yeah,
okay.
And where...
Well, yeah.
This show has such a cult following that somebody's like, I want to remake that for real. And it's a really good job. Oh, it's so good. The songs get in and out. It's not super saturated, so you get like 5 songs over the course of the thing.
Right, and it doesn't have that thing where all the songs sound the same. I mean, the Powerline songs get a little samey, but I mean, they're sung by the same guy.
And it's really, really, really catchy, and I love it.
It's so catchy. It has all the great 90s cheese.
And apparently, when this movie was entirely unironic when it came out, it did not mean to be a time capsule of the 90s.
Right on.
You're like, oh my God, all this
accidental time capsule.
That's one of my favorite tropes. I kind of feel like Miscellaneous here. I kind of feel like Neptune Inn was a sex motel, and they just couldn't find because.
Well, it's supposed to be one of those weird, like, out of the way novelty hotels that Max found on the road trip. That was another odd thing about this movie. You connected to it in a way I didn't. We didn't go on road trips as a family.
I did.
We had money, so we flew everywhere.
Okay.
So this whole idea of like traveling across the country in a car and stopping at all these cute little places, that never had any appeal to me.
There is a really cool we're spouting stuff we think about now because we're near the end of this.
No, I gotta talk about Goofy still.
Okay, we're gonna talk about Goofy later. The economics. There's a scene where where Goofy has to get in the car, and instead of showing Goofy getting in the car, it's a still shot of the closed glove box, and it turns from blue to orange and then back to blue with the accompanying sound effects. Suddenly he's in the car. That's really good. When the pencil rolls out of the glove compartment and spins around, it's so tactile. And when he smashes the lead, it's got that crunch and that vigor, and he's trying his best to draw. And you can feel the Foley artist did so good on this. And it's all good. The hot tub is all sassy, and whenever I was a kid, and
he's just wiggling all over the couch right now.
I sat down in a hot tub and I tried to recreate Goofy going, because that was like what you did in a hot tub. You recreated your favorite kids movies.
Of course.
Yes, that first scene gave me nightmares.
Oh my God! What the fuck is wrong with that?
It's a weird body horror. Also, it's all the backgrounds are really detailed. We had like a 5-minute fight about whether there was a dent in a filing cabinet.
There's not, by the way.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I won that one.
Yeah. Well, no, I think I'm still out. But... All right. I think it's time for you to talk about Goofy.
Okay. So when John and I first watched this movie as a married couple, we sat down, we watched it, and he just, I don't remember, I think it was at the possum party part. And he just starts ripping into Max. I'm like, no, hang on. And I fucking paused the movie. And I was like, Goofy is an irredeemable prick. Not an irredeemable prick, that is too strong a word, but Goofy is an unthoughtful asshole in this movie. I'm not calling him a bad parent. So the inciting incident is Goofy getting a call from the principal, and he's worried his son's going to go to jail, so let's take him across the country to go fishing.
Inconceivable.
Never once does he ever ask Max what was going on. Never once does he ever ask the principal why he was in the principal's office in the first place.
Dad, you won't even... You don't get it. It was super cool.
Never once does he try to sit down and figure out Max's point of view of things until they get literally thrown off a waterfall. Well, until right before that.
Yeah.
Until they literally get thrown off a cliff. never once does Goofy ever try to approach Max on his level. And I get it, Max is an asshole, but he's a teenager.
Who cares?
He reacts with teenage angst. You know, this is like, he's confused, he's hormonal, he's getting all kinds of life thrown at him, and he's excited but also terrified. And rather than being a completely, like, healthy place for Max to approach and talk about this shit, no, you're gonna get shoved in a car and do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, when they talk, it's really deep to the point where near the end you're like, holy shit, they're talking about their feelings.
Right, and that should have happened an hour ago.
Well, no, then you wouldn't have a really good movie called
Exactly!
Goofy. Shut up! Okay.
Life doesn't work that way.
Okay,
you don't get thrown off a cliff and do the perfect clash from a parachute that made out of your tent.
Survivor's getting weird. But okay.
It's a great movie about growing closer together. It is not a good movie about parenting.
Okay, no, okay. I would say it is a good movie about parenting.
Defend.
Okay, but here's the thing. Would you rather this movie just not exist or exist with that flaw where they don't talk about each other?
No, this is fine. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that this is a bad movie or it didn't have something to say. I'm saying in a real life scenario, what this movie does not work.
Okay.
And I was only mad at the time because you were ripping into Max, acting like it was all his fault,
Okay.
and it is not.
Okay, if in your defense, I only ripped into Max because I have a very special relationship with my dad, and
Yes.
if I acted that way to my dad, I would be very boohoo.
Yes.
But let me figure out where I was going. Yes,
Your dad
okay,
also didn't take your heart out and stomp on it.
Okay, we have a different relationship with our parents. When I, God, what the hell was I gonna say? Oh my God. Yes, the fact that they don't talk now that I'm an adult and I understand story structure bugs. It's the worst part of the movie.
Right.
But without it, you don't have a movie.
Right, exactly. And I'm not saying that conversation needed to happen in this movie at the beginning. No, I'm just saying in a real life parenting scenario, what Goofy did was horrible.
It is, and I understand he probably has custody of Max.
Yeah.
It's
Let's not even go there.
It's very. Where's the mom? Who cares?
Shut up.
If it's a movie about parenting, I will excuse. So I don't like that trope where they don't talk about things. If it's an excuse for poor storytelling.
Right.
But they still go on this road trip.
Right, yeah, and so, yeah, they have a good storytelling. The inciting incident is a little weak for me. And I get it, you need that tension there to build up their relationship, and that relationship is totally believable. This movie is fine. What happened in this movie is fine. But to put all of the blame on the poor shit on Max is wrong.
No, it's not quite Vanellope Wreck-It Ralph levels of us fighting.
Right, and it's two very flawed people trying to figure shit out. It's what I wish more romances would do.
Real people, because Goofy is a very traditional dad who wants to do things.
He's a little holier than thou for me.
well, when he talks about like Hi Dad soup.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's real and genuine.
You get the sense that they've kind of grown apart a little bit.
Right, yeah, and that's the whole... That's why the Goofy movie... That's the chord Goofy movie was meant to hit. The people who watch Goof Troop, what happens when your kid grows up. Yeah.
And I think the fact that is a similar feeling in an extremely Goofy movie is why that sequel is pretty much as good as this one, because it deals with the same issues.
I don't like it as much as everybody else does.
Well, we'll talk about that at a later
different
time. But for now, that has been a Goofy movie, unless you have something you want to talk about.
I don't think so. The Powerline songs are super catchy, but we already said... Is he a Michael Jackson nod?
Okay, I learned this. They were going to give that role to Bobby Brown, but he was on a lot of drugs at the time.
Oh,
and they're like, Bobby, you sit this one out. We'll just get a guy. It's fine.
We'll just get somebody. It's okay.
It's okay. You deal with yourself.
Man.
Thanks for joining us on this very short podcast episode.
Yeah. It was fun. Like, there's not so much to discuss with the Goofy movie because it's a very kind of what you see is what you get.
No, when we do The Blind Side, we'll talk for 40 minutes,
Jesus
but that's a different thing.
You're going to turn me on that movie.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
I love you.